But I feel like our engineering school is probably around 25% girls, 75% guys, which is pretty good compared to other engineering schools. However, 25% still obviously is not 50-50, which I think would be pretty ideal.
I was told beforehand that there's going to be a lot more boys than girls, just numbers-wise, and then you show up to class and you kind of take stock of the girls.
My intro to engineering course last semester, that was actually about 40% girls, 60% guys, so that's like a really good ratio for a classroom. However, my physics class, there's about 190 people in my lecture, and I would say there's at most about 25 girls in the class. Like, I'll look around and just, like, not see, like, any girls around me.
Because guys are not necessarily better at math and science. Guys are able to, I think, grasp it better at a younger age.
Like, oftentimes, you know, toys like Legos and building blocks are geared towards guys, whereas, like, Barbies and American Girl are geared towards girls. So, I don't know. I just think there's, like, a lot of, like, history and, like, you know, when people are growing up, like, certain things are, like, you know, not, like, forced, but, like, stereotyped onto, like, certain genders.
And also, they kind of tell their kids to do stuff. Like, my parents always pushed me into, like, higher level math classes and, like, bought me, like, random science games and stuff.
Especially also, too, because men actually have, are a little bit more intelligent when it comes to, like, spatial visualization. So I feel like, you know, that's what we're engineering, like, design and, like, math and science. It's a lot of, like, spatial, like, visualization. So I think that's why more men tend to be in engineering than women.
The professors in my 100 class told us that we should make sure that the roles are switched and the girls shouldn't always have to write out the projects.
I think that's really interesting because what he was saying is that a lot of times subtly is like a guy will ask a girl like, oh, would you mind taking notes? Or like no one will volunteer to take notes. So sometimes like a girl will be like, oh, I can take notes if you guys want. And basically what that's doing is kind of just like, you know, having, like, whichever girls in the group kind of become the secretarial role.
And even in math class, the guy was like, oh, you can write, you have better handwriting. I was like, I'm not writing. You can write first, we're all going to take turns.
I experienced that just today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In a team project, there's, like, certain organizational tasks that, like, shouldn't have any bias towards who gets what organizational task. But, at the end of the day, it's supposed to have the task, but the boys didn't want to do it. In the sense that, like, we do the technical stuff. Like, you worry about, like, the grammar, punctuation, whatever, while, like, contribute the actual material.
Like, I sometimes think that possibly, like, guys taking on, like, the building our, like, creation or our object role.
Like, natural instinct that okay, guys are going to be doing all the hard work, the busy work, not the busy work, but, like, you know, the labor, the getting your hands dirty kind of thing, versus women are more with the organization and stuff.
And, like, from all the presentations I've seen, all the girls are doing is introduction, anatomy, and medical problems. No girl did anything with, like, all those technical stuff. Being a girl, you kind of have to accept that, like, boys probably like that stuff more. Like, in class, lecture-wise, there's a lot more boys than girls, but when you go to study groups, there's a lot more girls than boys. It's like that stereotype I was talking about. You are raised that way, like, thinking that, like, you're gonna sign up for a study group because you're like, I have to do as good as the boys.
However, though, I have noticed in actual industry that women tend to seem like they have to prove something, so sometimes a little more strict, a little bit more not as loose, you know, so they usually try to take charge and try to step up whenever they can. So.
We're thinking about cutting back.
90 seconds each.
I just mean if you have 6 slides and you're going to spend 20 seconds describing
Ouch, but you have to consider...
I mean, like, the thing is, like, these are really common issues, so, like...
if they're all important.
Consider...
I'm not gonna say a lot. Like, I have, like, full bullets for each topic, so I might just go over it really fast and, like, get people to understand what I'm talking about coming into the next one.
Like, I feel like girls, like, know that they're in, like, a harder setting and they, like, want to put their best foot forward with everything because, you know, like, we're just being looked at more and, like, being judged more for being the minority within the field, whereas guys, you know, like, that's the majority of them there, so...
They're all, I don't know, I think, you know, times are changing and it's time to be, like, more mature.
Not in our lifetime. I don't think it's ever going to be 50-50, but I think eventually it's going to be 60% men, 40% women, because a lot of new women's rights stuff is happening, and I think just with parents' encouragement in schools being more proactive, that girls are going to be more inclined to do math and science than they were before.